that good? All right. Welcome back to the Drain Plug Podcast. We got some special guests today. We got Mike Lopez from TBNation over here. Say hello, Mike.
Hello.
Bright, sunny ray of sunshine over here. All right, we got other two special guests over here. We've got Justin Lammers, Mr. Kayak DIY.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Doing great. I love being here.
Good, good. And you're from Floridia.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Welcome to Georgia.
Yeah. It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, it's a little chilly today. But our super special guest we've got over here is Mr. Edwardo from, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil?
Yeah.
Did you take a wrong left turn or did you intentionally get on a plane to come here?
Yeah, actually intention. For sure.
So you are the owner of the new AutoBoat unit that TBNation is carrying.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing the AutoBoat thing?
Yeah, we are working on that project in about 3 years. We are working on that and make improvements and all the time trying to make the product more interactive and more technology inside. That was we were working on that.
Okay. So did you come up with the idea for the AutoBoat or did you see somebody else do it and like steal it from them or
No.
did you have a dream one night?
Yeah, no, actually, I was driving. It's my idea. I was driving and thinking, hey, why we are in the hands of the big ones, pay higher prices? Why anybody think about us create something that we can engage in the regular one, trolling motors, and become that with something interactive, with technology, with something like that. Then I started to think that and start the product. I'm not engineer, but I hired some guys that understand the idea, and we work almost 6 months only in the draw, in the project, and this kind of stuff to find out the better alternative, the better way to do that. That's what we did.
Okay. So now when you first made it, did it work the way you thought it was going to, or did you have to make a bunch of revisions?
No, it was a mess. No, the first one was something weird.
Yeah.
But it's normal. It's a way that somebody that wants a dream and wants to make that fulfill, you have to face many problems, many obstacles, and have to go ahead. And I had 3, 4, or 5 times on that project that I decided to give up. But then I said again, no, let's go ahead. And thank God that I went along with that. Yeah.
So the AutoBoat itself is new to the U.S., but you guys have been using it in Brazil for a long time, right?
Yeah, for 3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
And you everybody seems to like it. You had really good feedback on it.
Yeah, AutoBoat in Brazil, we are proud of that, to have almost 100% of positive feedbacks of the customers. We have around 4,000 or 5,000 AutoBoats running in Brazil. And if you take a look of the media and all those people that use that, you have only positive feedbacks. I not say that one or another situation will have problems. Problem is not the issue. The issue is you solve the problem immediately. We are proud of our post-sale is more famous in Brazil than the sale or the product itself, because they say that, hey, this company is amazing because we answer Saturday, Sunday until 7 to 11 of 7 days in a week, and we have that work that, and it's we are proud of that. It's a lot of work, but it's have a compensation that's customer satisfaction.
So when you decided to get the AutoBoat into the U.S. market, how did that process go? Did you have to reach out to somebody like Justin and Mike, or did you already have somebody else you were talking to?
Yeah, no, it started with Justin. I went to ICAST in 2 years ago, and I saw some videos of Justin in the internet. I didn't know him, but I said, hey, my name is Eduardo. I sent a message to him, and would you mind to get a meeting in the iCast, and then we talking about a project that I have, and explain to him some basic things about the product. And he said, oh, okay, let's do that. And then it started with that meeting in the iCast.
Yeah, Justin was the right person to reach out to. He's kind of famous. You got like what, like half a gazillion followers on the Gram and the TikTokies or whatever it is that you're on now?
We're getting close to 100K on YouTube. We got 127,000 on TikTok, like 22,000 on Instagram, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, every one of those followers, matters. I mean, even on the smaller platforms,
Gotcha.
we try to engage with them.
So you and Mike were connected prior to the AutoBoat.
Correct.
And then when you got a hold of it, you were like, oh, this thing is cool. You got to see this.
So when he messaged me and said kind of what he had going on, I'm instantly thinking from the kayaking world. Mike's more in the small, John boat, aluminum boats. I was thinking of the big impact on the kayaking world because there are so many people trying to put motors on kayaks. I mean, that industry is just rapidly evolving. You're getting $100,000 kayak fishing tournaments. I mean, there's some big money going into them. So I just saw the impact on how easy it was going to be integrating even just remote steering. That alone, that feature alone, that is an AutoBoat, was incredibly useful. Because then you don't have to run your lines to the motor, all that cable stuff. It just simplified the install so much that you could almost install this motor setup on just about any kayak. So yeah, met him at iCast. He showed me the product. He had it in a backpack, and initially, I was just like, fits into a backpack? Well, then I understood, the bigger picture of this thing fits with basic trolling motors. That's awesome. I already have a trolling motor sitting in my garage. I can just slap this thing on and boom, now I have GPS. This is amazing. So, yeah, it just kind of all snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So,
And then you got one, Mike.
Mm-hmm. I did.
What did you think of it when you first got a hold of it?
I thought this is something we need. I'm a pretty big fan of market shakers. And I think the people who have held on to the spot lock technology for the longest time have really made them unaffordable for the general public. And so there's some more basic ones that are kind of affordable, but not really. But most people I know at least have had an Endura, a Minn Kota Endura C2 little transom, or have one sitting in their garage somewhere or in the closet. And, for not all that, way less more money than what it would take for you to go buy one. You can just convert yours right over. And a lot of the smaller watercraft already have mounts for the transom mount trolling motors up in the front, up in the bow, or up in the back. And it just made sense.
Yeah.
This is something that people need. It's like GPS technology for the people.
yeah, I started seeing that kind of evolving in the kayaking world too. They started putting transom mounts on the kayaks. They were making mid-haul transom mounts for swapping out pedal drives. They were including, because the power pole was so popular initially, they started putting that bolt pattern in, but it became more than just a power pole, so they started actually using that mount for transom mounts. So all the kayak companies were putting that bolt pattern for the power pole, but they were using it actually for putting trolling motors on. And so this design of AutoBoat working with a transom clamp style mount made it to where the majority of the kayaks that were coming out now, it would be the easiest install ever. You just get yourself that transom mount, it attaches right to that bolt pattern on the stern, or possibly you can do the mid-haul mount with some of these companies that we'll be talking about probably later. They have, in the pedal drive area of these pedal drive kayaks, they have adapters now where you can just drop on the trolling motor and it goes right through the center drive well.
Yeah.
And you have AutoBoat on that. Now you have a mid-haul mounted GPS trolling motor setup. Old Town Autopilot became incredibly popular, but it's cost prohibitive to some people.
Because that thing's what,
it's
$2-3 grand, isn't it?
4 grand.
More? Yeah,
I think it's
thought it was really
almost
expensive.
5. I think it's almost 5 grand.
Almost 5.
You know, so at that price, you know, that really cuts out a lot of people from being able to experience that. But with the AutoBoat system and maybe like a feel-free kayak, so you can get like a feel-free lure, maybe a feel-free Dorado like what Mike has. He's been rigging the heck out of that. You know, those don't cost near as much. You can get the adapter that fits into like the pod or maybe a bow mount setup, and you just drop the AutoBoat system in there, and now you have basically what the other guys have in that $5,000 setup.
Now, I know we talked about this before. If you're gonna bow mount it on a kayak, it works just like it would on anything else. But if you're gonna run it on the transom or your own little makeshift transom, what is the difference in procedure in installing it?
Yeah, correct. So Edwardo and I had talked about that. We want to make it very clear that if you mount it on the stern, you're going to lose that nav point heading. So nav point heading is on the remote, you hit the N button, or on the app, you hit the N button, and the boat's going to follow like a laser, like it's going to go in that direction. With the AutoBoat system mounted on the stern, you lose that function. You're still able to steer it, you're still able to do anchoring, but you're not able to do nav point heading. You're also not going to be able to do the route following modes if you mount it on the stern. Now, if you mount it in front of you, in the middle, like the mid-hull, like on a pedal kayak, or if you mount it towards the bow, then you're going to retain that nav point heading, and you'll retain the ability to use maps and like follow route modes. So, yeah, that's pretty much the big difference between mounting on the stern and mounting in front of you, in the middle or in the bow.
Very cool. So we've got the AutoBoat here in the U.S. It is up for sale, tinyboatnation.net. Is there plans for new models or upgrades or anything coming in the future that y'all can talk about? Or if you need to tell me to shut up, you can.
No, yes, we have good news ahead there. We are working on 2 new projects. One of them is for bass boats, more specific, for a little bit larger and with a platform. And another thing that we are working on it. It's a very interesting thing, that it's a hat. We intend to provide for the customers, instead of the AutoBoat, we have another option, that is the hat. You just take off your original hat and put the other one, connect 2 wires, and you're done. We are working in, I think that in a short period of time, we have that available to the customers.
We'll be looking forward to that. Now, I know me and Mike and Ryan and everybody have been working on trying to come up with some more John Boat style do-it-yourself mounts and stuff to get, for the people that don't want to spend the big money on a huge, like a Tarova or something like that. If they want to put a, C2 Endura or something easy like that in their boat, we're coming up with some mounts and stuff. Mike's been playing around with a bunch of stuff in his garage too. Have you been working with anybody in the kayak world to integrate this into anything or try to get some mounts available?
Yep, we've been talking to a few companies, and we'll make sure to get that out on Tiny Boat Nation channel. But yeah, there's actually one company already that has some mounts. Yak Gadget already has a lot of mounts. So if you have like a fuel-free lure, a fuel-free Dorado, or a bunch of other like kayaks that have a center pod, they actually make transom mounts where a trolling motor can go through the center of it. So that would make it very, very simple for you to integrate a trolling motor with an AutoBoat integrated system into it. So Yak Gadget would be one of the companies to look into, and we're going to be, I think, hopefully working more with them to further develop ways to mount these style of motors. So,
Mike,
Yeah,
how do you feel about the AutoBoat going forward?
I like it a lot.
You think this is
It makes me happy.
makes you happy?
No, I think it's what needs to be here. As stuff gets stuff gets more outrageously expensive and unaffordable, like we're trying to find ways to serve our audience and our general community on how to. You're just trying to find anything really. That's going to be our major focus on solving
Ways to
those
save on
problems.
money.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is a bigger one. I like it because it's for roughly around a third of the cost of one of the bigger ones. It has most of the features of those bigger ones. Like you're able to run routes on your phone. You no longer need proprietary fish finders. In order for you to run like iPilot Link, you need Hummingbird units.
Yeah.
You can't do it on, in order for you to run Garmin's whatever, duplicate of whatever that is. The same thing with the rants. You all need proprietary fish finder. They make it proprietary on purpose. And so you're in 10 grand. We're a big system just to run routes. Like,
Now you can do it for what, $700-800?
yeah, like, well, yeah, what, about $700 plus a cheap Minn Kota trolling motor from Walmart and a phone app.
Yeah.
And you can run routes. And we're going to add more stuff to this app. We just had a big meeting where we talked about future developments in in software and features and all kinds of other stuff. And we're here to stay. It's a big thing.
And Edwardo, you were saying that making adjustments in the app is a lot more simple than making new products. So that's something that y'all can develop, software or firmware for to do more route stuff and more, what you call it, nav point.
Yeah, just making refinements in the app. If the customer already has the product, there's a lot of refinements and improvements and features that can possibly be added to the app. It makes it to where it becomes more future-proof.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how often do you guys think that this AutoBoat unit will need to be updated? I mean, y'all plan on doing a lot of updates, or pretty much like once they got it rocking and rolling, it'll be good to go?
It really doesn't require much updates. The firmware built into the unit, like to the point that it's at, is a very solid system. It works well. There really isn't a lot of requirements for updates. Even in the past, 3 years that you ran, you really, once you got the firmware dialed in, you had long periods of time where you really didn't have to do any updates.
Yeah, it's a very solid system, and I think that one important thing that it's important to the audience know about the app is that you have a part of maps. If you hire some maps from the apps of existed today, you have to pay for waypoints. You have to pay if you go more than 10 or 5 routes and this kind of stuff. AutoBoats is 100% free, the app. We have unlimited waypoints. We have unlimited track records. You have unlimited everything. It's important to know because people sometimes they think, hey, okay, but in a few months they start to charge me for something about the app. I have my word here for the audience. For life, we have free all the features of the app of AutoBoat that exists here and that we are going to implement in the future.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah, it's important to know because free for life.
Okay. So you guys know a lot more about this than I do, but what's some of the frequently asked questions that you guys have had about the unit?
So there was one question that someone had if they went to a really remote area where they didn't have cell phone reception. They were wondering about the app actually even working. They were wondering about being able to see the satellite imagery on the maps in the app. So in order to keep the app free, though, we don't have downloaded maps. But there is a workaround to that. So before you get to an area that has absolutely no reception, you can open up the app and kind of zoom in on the water body that you're going to be fishing, and it will store that map data into the temporary folders of the app. And then when you get to the water, you'll still be able to have that satellite imagery on there. So that's
So you can close the app after, like, say I'm at home where I know I got good service, open up to this little remote lake that I'm going to go to, and then just close the app out, come back later, and it should still work?
I would probably sleep the app. So
Just let it run in the background?
Like have it in the background, and then when you get to the water, then end up basically connecting to the AutoBoat, and then you can do all your other features from there. But I would have it kind of running in the background.
Okay.
I wouldn't fully close it out, but that's what seems to have worked out really well when I get to areas where I have really poor reception. And like I said, it's a workaround to prevent having to pay the app companies or like Google and Apple to store all that data.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, then the app's not free, because it would cost, and we want to keep the app free. So, in order to keep the app free, that's the workaround.
Yeah, I want to track the idea of a free app. That's why we implemented that situation that helps to have maps all over the world, but without paying that, because if I download the maps, they charge me. Then I have to charge my customer. Then I'm not going to charge.
And then you
anyway.
get slammed with ads all over your apps,
Yeah.
and they're real buggy, and
We don't have ads. You can note that it's clean. They have anything only for the customers to use and make fun of that without any ads or anything to pay. Only buy the AutoBoat for the cheapest price possible through TBNation and have fun.
Yep.
You know, one of the questions that we had when we first did the pre-sale was about fitment. And now that we've had a couple hundred of these phone calls, I've been a little bit better about telling people. So the cheap trolling motors that are 1 1/8 shaft diameter that are anywhere between 55 and 35 pound thrusts in that range, that are tiller steer only. This does not work on bow mounts like the Minn Kota Edge. It doesn't work on the Tarova and all that other stuff.
Yeah, correct. Because the steering lock that comes on your factory motor, like for example, if we're talking about a Minn Kota C2 Endura or a Minn Kota Riptide, the basic 5-speed, not the variable one, the basic 5-speed ones are a very quick, easy, direct connection, because the steering lock that is on the factory motor, it's a little thumb screw, basically. That comes out, the AutoBoat collar clicks in, tightens, and then that thumb screw goes on, and that's what holds the AutoBoat steering collar on, and it holds it in line and keeps it from spinning. And then you have a depth collar that interfaces with that, and that's what allows to be able to steer the system. But the important features basically is you need a 5-speed or like a non-variable, non-digital system to work seamlessly. We are going to probably have some tutorials coming out on a few units that have digital brains and how to bypass the digital brain to work with AutoBoat.
Like the Minn Kota Endura Max is the one that we're extremely familiar with.
Some people confuse the Endura Max with the C2 Endura. The C2 Endura has a 5-speed manual speed controller, and the Endura Max has a digital speed controller. You can't have the AutoBoat digital speed controller competing with the motors factory digital one.
Yeah, but we've got a workaround for that.
We're gonna
get the video and stuff rolling for that soon.
Yep.
Any other? I know, Mike, you had a few questions about it. Did you have anything that you wanted to cover as far as like frequently asked questions for people that might be watching this that are thinking about buying an AutoBoat?
Probably. Give me a second.
I'll give you a second. Go back to Justin. I know you've handled a lot of the questions, or Edwardo too.
Yeah.
As far as like the GPS heading sensor being magnetic, and watching out what you put around it.
Yeah. So the power cable that goes into the motor, the main power factory cable, you want to keep that away from the GPS. If that's touching the GPS, it starts throwing it off. So you need to make sure that you follow the instructions on how to mount the GPS to the shaft in that orientation.
And then we had one the other day with the making sure that cable does not sit, your power cable is not sitting right on that magnetic sensor.
Yeah,
the heading
yeah,
sensor.
Yeah,
'cause it will
basically it
screw
comes
up.
down to is making sure you follow the instructions on the orientation of where that arm comes off the shaft, and that's holding the GPS. You need to make sure that you have that in the appropriate position. Some people have it flipped to the other side, and then it's bouncing up against the power cable, the factory power cable of the motor, and that creates an interference with the GPS. But once you get it dialed in and you get it tightened down, you really don't have to touch it again.
Yeah.
You know, I've been using it for quite a long time, fishing the flats out, you know, in the Gulf, and I mean, I set it, and I really don't have to mess with it again, and it just works. But that is the consideration you have to make when you're initially setting it up.
Now the brain box, the black box that it comes with, is it waterproof? Like, is it dunkable?
Yeah, for short periods, yeah, it's waterproof. Yeah.
Okay, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody's
there's
gonna do
gasket
that.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's waterproof connections. The remote is also
Yeah.
a waterproof.
Yeah, important to say that we have two levels of protection of the box. You have the first level that is when you close the box, you have some devices that make that as a waterproof, and you have the board that you have a second coat of protection that even if enter water for some reason, for some accident, even if the equipment is still working, because have a second level of protection of water.
Very
waterproof.
nice. Very nice.
The motherboard is basically coated with a waterproof barrier.
Okay, cool.
They covered everything.
Everything.
Pretty good.
Wow, you guys are amazing. Amazing. Eduardo, is there anything that you wanted to touch on? So I know you came all the way up here.
Yeah,
From,
I
from
actually would like to say that despite the fact that we have business, okay, business is important, but I'm very happy to know the people of TBNation, Justin Lammers. It's good when you find out people that have the same, you know what I mean, the same vision. Vision of quality, vision of take care of the customer. It's important. I'm very happy and very excited to have the partnership with TBNation.
Awesome. Justin, anything you want to touch on before we close it out?
I just like how life has, like all these connections have happened and stemmed from the YouTube. Like it's networking at its finest. But like, I meet him, I meet you guys, and then we all end up together, and it's beyond just even the business. It's also the friendships that come out of it. It's awesome. I love it. That's one of the things that I've gotten the most value out of. Money's great, as one of Anthony Jones has said. They rank it right up there with breathing. But
Sounds like something you would say.
but the friendships that have come out of the business, that's one of the things I hold most dear. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Words of wisdom to leave us with, Mike?
Stay strong, don't drink and drive, and just fish a lot. Sorry, I don't got anything useful to say.
Awesome. All right.
Great.
Well, we'll give a big thanks to our sponsor for the podcast, it'll be Tiny Boat Nation. Thank you so much for everything you do for us and make this possible. It was good having you guys here. I hope to see you guys again soon. We'll be playing with the AutoBoat some more. I know Anthony just got one, so he's going to be doing some videos on it. I'm eventually going to get out and play with one.
Okay.
I've never ran a GPS trolling motor before, so it should be pretty interesting. Ryan's probably going to need to bring his floaties when we go to the lake that day. We may wind up in the water. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the AutoBoat, feel free to reach out to Tiny Boat Nation via email on the website or the phone number. We'll leave it down in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down in the description box below. Also, the only place you can find the AutoBoat, if you are interested in purchasing it, is Tiny Boat Nation, right?
Great.
Yep.
Unless you want to drive to Brazil.
Yeah.
Which, is that possible? Can you
No.
drive from Americaland to Brazil?
Yes, it's possible. It's tough, but possible.
Because you got to go through, what, Mexico and then...
No. Actually, we have to go to Argentina, Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela, then Nicaragua, and Mexico in final
That sounds like
but it's a tough.
a very long drive.
Yeah, a
I
tough-
need to get a globe because I don't even remember where Brazil is in my head on a globe. I'm going to buy one so I can put it in the office. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.